All right, guys and gals, so we have got some serious rooting going on right now, and I'm going to take you inside just a few, and we'll take a look at that and see what's happening, what is rooting, how some of them are doing, and just kind of cover the bases there. But first, I've got a question. The comment came from D. Buell, and it said, dang, 40% videos on figs, another 40% rhododendron, and with 4 million plants to choose from, would love to see new prop videos. Thanks. Anyway, I took it all in good fun and had to comment back because that's just my personality. And I said, also 40% on roses, 40% on burning bush, 40% on lavender, weigela, apple grafting, pear air layering, petunias, begonias, viburnum, hosta, pothos, dracaena, dogwood, at least 40% on hydrangeas. Did I forget any? I think I did. That all adds up to at least 5,680%. I couldn't help myself, but you're right. There are many more plants to work with. Stick around. I'm not going anywhere. To which this person replied, it might be YouTube recommendations, always showing me figs. Well, there you have it, guys. Right now is fig season, and that's why I'm doing so many videos on figs. It's winter time, and usually figs are taken as hardwood cuttings during the dormant season, and so everybody is rooting figs right now, and that's a lot of what I'm doing, and that's why I'm doing a lot of fig videos, and I'll just keep on doing these fig videos because a lot of you want to see them. And as the spring progresses, we will get more and more into other plants like always. The main thing I want to point out to you guys is this. As I mentioned in a previous video, after so much time, usually a year and a half, a lot of these videos just start dropping off, and YouTube wants to promote more current videos. Sometimes I get comments from old videos. They just kind of drum up out of nowhere. People find them somehow, or maybe YouTube recommends them to somebody who is watching something very similar. But it's not the main thing that happens. Usually my older videos just kind of fall off. But they're all there, and they're always there for you guys to see. So I do so many videos on so many different plants, and if you guys want to see more different plants out there in video form, then go check out the channel. Just go to the main channel. I think you can click on my name or my icon or something like that. Go to the main YouTube channel for this channel and scroll down. I've got a lot of playlists on there on the page about Japanese maples and hydrangeas and all my best propagation videos and lots of different things. And if you click on the videos tab on that main channel, then you can scroll through. It takes a little while, but you can scroll through page after page and go back all the way to the very beginning, like 7 years ago or 8 or 10 years ago, when we did the very first video ever about rhododendrons, which makes up 40% of the videos I do. But anyway, I think we should get inside real quick here and show you, because it's getting cold as heck. It's like below 30, I think. And we should show you what's going on in that fig tent and what's rooting and what's not and how I feel about all of it. Let's go. All right, and we're back in the tent. We've got the wide angle view on, and you can see that things are happening. Leaves are starting to unfold. Roots are starting to happen. Now, before we go any further, remember, I did this completely backwards from what I normally do and didn't get the same results that I normally get. But I'm going to show it all to you guys so you don't make the same mistakes. First thing I want to say, don't just stick these cuttings in medium, in a grow tent, in your house, in the middle of winter, and expect to get the best rooting potential. The reason is this. You're inside a house, and I know I've had this conversation with other people on here many times, but you're inside of a house. The house tends to typically be drier air. And so that drier air will eventually suck the life out of these cuttings. Now, I put a wrap around all these cups to hold the humidity in, hold the moisture in, but I'm finding some problems with that, and we'll talk about that in just a second. I am getting a lot of these to root. Not all of them, but I'm getting a lot of them to root and leaf out. Some of them are rooting and not leafing out. Some of them are shriveling up and dying. And so I have, other recommendations for rooting these things. Everybody's got their own way, but I would strongly discourage you, especially if you're new to this, from just doing what I did here in this video. Yes, it's another do as I say, not as I do. I got behind the 8-ball. I explained that in the first of this little series. I didn't, I had to get these things stuck. Some of them sat in a fridge for a year, most of them. And I just, I did this all completely different from what I normally do. I'm still getting some success. I'm enjoying this success. Could I have done better? Probably. And I've made videos about how I would do it. We've talked about this a lot in the past. Quick rundown. I put them in the same medium in these cups, fill around the cups with the same medium to hold warmth in, put bottom heat underneath them, have all of this outside in not a well-lit place, no lighting or anything like that. So it's cold around the tops of the cuttings, warm around the bottom of the cuttings. Once you get massive roots, then you put them out in a hoop house, or you could bring them indoors under a light, and they'll start leafing out and flushing out with growth. And I get 100% or close to 100% with that. Anyway, now that I've said that, let's take a look at some of the really nice things we've got going on. And yes, Glenda, I am thinking about you every day as you say that you want more updates on this more frequently. I'm trying to get there for you. Check that out, guys. Check that out. Maroc 23. I got this one from ProFig. That's Danny, I believe. Anyway, he sold me this Maroc 23. I saw it as a picture on his, I think it was on his Facebook, or maybe it was on FigBid a year ago. This is one that sat in the fridge for a year, but it's a fat cutting, and it had a lot of stored potential energy, and I soaked it, and there it is. I mean, you could see it just rooted like crazy, and it's doing so well. In fact, it's doing so well where those roots are coming out in mass. They are starting to dry out that bark. I've already watered this once. So I did a video on the whole watering thing a couple of years ago where I did an experiment, and one of those videos you guys should go check out. I know a lot of people talk about not over watering your fig cuttings, but what I found was if you have a well-draining medium, it's okay to overwater them. In fact, they like more water when they're first rooting and getting growing and all that good stuff. I found, at least for me, that these figs grow better with as much moisture as possible. As long as they're not waterlogged, that would be a bad thing. Let's check this out. This is Figoin here. One from Steve over on the other side of the Cascades. And was it this one I saw it on? Maybe not. I'm waiting for roots. I'm going to see something soon. Roots are just going to explode from this guy at some point. Nothing yet, but lots of good, healthy green growth up top. And like we talked about in that last video, big, fat, thick cutting, lots of stored energy. It's doing okay living off of that energy. I'll bet there's already roots down in there. We'll see them at some point here. Here's another one, fatter, longer cutting. This was a good long one. I'm starting to get roots. That's that Nerino. Look at that. Tons of roots going up the side. Leafing out beautifully, looking real good. This is another Figoin. I think, yeah, this is the one that rooted, but for some reason the leaves are coming out funky and mottled. It's probably that FMV, which at this point, it's like they're all going to have it, or maybe not all of them are going to have it. Lou Monte's fig doesn't have it. Look at that beauty. That's Desert King. His figs don't have it. Maybe I need to separate these guys, but there is the Figoin. Tons of roots coming out on that. And the other thing I find about the FMV is once you get them in ground, you get them growing in good soil after a season or so, I never have another problem with FMV. I don't see it on my orchard figs. It's just the potted ones that I struggle with. Right here, Constantine de Algeri, is that how I say it? Little tiny baby root coming out there. And I saw some around here somewhere. There they are. You spin it around this way. Look at all that. Roots galore coming out of the top of that thing. I don't know if you can see them in there. Lots of roots. I'm excited about that one. A really beautiful green fig. And that should be fun to grow. This BNR here, it doesn't have roots yet, but it's just starting to send out that bud. And I'm hopeful. I haven't seen roots, but I'm hopeful. And I'm going to be staring that sucker down over the next few days. Lots of things going on. Over here, we've got David Burke's figs. There's 6 of them in there, and no roots on them yet. But we do have, this isn't one of his. This is actually Col de Dame Mutante. That's another fat one. Look at that. Beautiful roots. Beautiful roots. Nice growth. I love those fat ones. They take a little longer, which actually, that's another point. A lot of times people say those... the fatter cuttings take longer. I always used to say they take longer, but they root more assuredly. Well, the fact of the matter is the fat ones are all rooting quicker and more assuredly. So I love the fat cuttings. I mean, that material is just awesome. A couple more mutantes in there. I haven't seen roots yet. Look at this. This is my pride and joy so far. Lou Monte sent me this, or Monticello. Is that how I say your name? And your last name? Anyway, it's Lou Monte's FIGS. It's his YouTube channel. And this is a Desert King. And it's from the area he lives in. Is it Kincaid Island? Anyway, I labeled it as his. I'm going to keep his figs separate from mine. Like, this will be separate from my Desert King, and I'll always keep it labeled as Lou Monte. We kind of talked about that, and I want to do that because I want to know where I got his figs from, because he takes painstaking care in growing his figs and picking out the best varieties and just weeding out the good from the bad. And he's got some beautiful stuff, guys, and I am actually very, very honored to have his figs here. He said at some point he'd love it if I slowly dole out some of his stuff. Anyway, Desert King for the Pacific Northwest is one of the best you can grow because of the Breba crop, and I am really excited about that fig. I can't say it enough. This one, oh, there's another Desert King from his, and smaller cutting, so I put in a smaller cup. Look at that. His material is just gorgeous. It's just gorgeous. Look at that Desert King. You know, they say, well, this is a fig that's less desirable and it doesn't cost as much, which is a good thing. But look at how it grows and it fruits and it performs year after year. And I think I'm going to dig up my Desert King, which is still very small, and I'm going to replace it with just his. I don't see why not. Beautiful, beautiful figs, man. And they'll fruit reliably in our area. That was just called Red Leaf. That was from Steve. It's rooting out, looking good, doing well. No problems with that one. But that's where we're at. Now, one of the things I wanted to show you was, now that I've stuck this material, this saran wrap, cling wrap, over the top of these, I'm getting more rot than I ever did before down in there. I'm seeing fungus and molds growing in there because it's trapping in humidity and too much heat all around this area. Whereas before, when I would do my bottom heat and just have all of these guys outdoors, I left the tops open and I just mist and keep the top of the medium moist. And so I am noticing more rot down here around the base. Like this one right here dried up, and you can see, look at that. That's not roots. That's not, look at that. That's rot. Hopefully it's showing up there. That's rot down in there. It's too warm, too moist, and it's trapped around that cutting there. And so this is not, what I'm doing here is not the ideal way to do this, in my opinion. If you're going to do it like this, leave that plastic off, mist it like I always used to do. It'd be better to have it outdoors and on bottom heat, but I don't know. I'd stay away from doing this kind of stuff. I'm sure some of you have rooted figs successfully that way, but I'm struggling with it right now. But we are still getting a lot to go. A lot of these figs right here in the front are from my own orchard. I just took them this year, Col de Dame Gris. So we'll see what happens. They're kind of slowly coming along. They were taken later than the rest. What else can I show you? I think that's it. I think that's what's going on right now in the fig tent. So we got plenty of things rooting, not all of it, but I'm going to water this guy right here, this Maroc 23. I'm going to keep all these watered well, and I might take a lot of these plastic tops off because I'm just starting to notice rot that I don't like. Let's show you real quick what's going on under here. We've got our beautiful begonia. At some point, I'm going to take some cuttings of that, some leaf cuttings, and do a video on that. That sure is turning out to be a beautiful plant. We've got some blooms coming in there. And there are a little hydrangea, the under the grow light hydrangea, filled with massive roots, so much so it was drying out like crazy, and I had to up pot it. I potted it up to a bigger pot yesterday and watered it really well with water, and then some Miracle Grow afterwards, so because you could see the tops were coming in a little yellower. So I got some new fertilizer in there, potted up. It should just start growing like crazy again. This is that one that we took last summer. Originally, we took this cutting in August, I believe it was, and it's growing real strong and healthy, doing well under these fluorescent bulbs here. Our Dracaena just coming along real slow. They've been sitting in there since last summer, or sitting around here somewhere. Anyway, there you go. So there you go, guys. That one was a little bit longer, but I had a few things I want to talk about and go over with you. I don't know what to say. It is what it is. I got behind. I didn't get these things stuck when I should have, and I'm trying to do things that I don't normally do. I think what I need to do is take some figs out. Actually, I'm not even going to do it with figs because we got so many figs in here right now that are gonna root, and so many things going outside with figs that I'm gonna go back to my older method, but we're gonna root some different hardwood cuttings as the winter progresses. Like, I'm gonna give a shot at some apples and pears and some conifers even, something like that. But that method where I showed you how to root these things originally, where I got 100% success rate, that's how I would root any hardwood cutting normally. And that's what I'm gonna be doing moving forward with any of these new plants that we're gonna be rooting for the rest of winter. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Hope you learned something from it. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe if you want to follow along. Have a fantastic week, and I'll see you in the next video. Adios.